Hey, welcome. This is number 8, Abuelo and the Nieto, the granddad and the grandson. Over there, Tyler is the grandson. Over here, the granddad. Abuelo and the Nieto, we focus on Miami sports, and we have a lot to talk about this week. And of course, we're going to be getting into the details. Of course, Tua coming back. We're very excited about that, and the Heat started their season. But Tyler, we always like to start our podcast with basically the number associated with one, uh, great Miami athletes. And we have a couple this week. Mr. Andre Dawson, remember him? A guy from Southwest High. He played at high school level. He was one of the great high school athletes here in South Florida. Then eventually went to the pros, and he played a lot of years in the majors, mostly with the Cubs and Montreal. But he ended his career with the Marlins for 2 seasons. Great career, 438 home runs, 1,491 RBIs. One of the great baseball players here in South Florida, I would say, together with Alex Rodriguez. So Andre Dawson at number 8, but you have another number 8.
Well, first, I have a little fun fact about Andre Dawson. I'm not sure if you know this. He actually runs one of the biggest funeral homes in Miami, Florida. Actively runs it as a
And
manager.
I'm not planning on dying anytime soon, Tyler. So,
You might
but
run into Andre
eventually,
Dawson, you know. Um,
eventually.
Another legend, a lot younger, still playing in the NFL actually, but he's a Miami Hurricanes legend. Be number 8, Braxton Berrios, personal favorite sports player. For me, a local guy, and he single-handedly beat Florida State for Miami that game.
Hey, the sound went like that, like that. Talk now and see.
One, two, three, four, five.
Now it's fine. So I don't know what happened. You want to
When
start
did?
from the top? Start from the top or what?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, I don't know what happened. So something went well. Your voice was like that. I don't know. You do something? No. You touch something? No. Okay. You have a mic? No. Okay. Well, let's start again. Ready? 3, 2, 1. We're back. Abuelo and the Nieto, number 8. We focus on Miami sports. Over there is Tyler Carmona. He's the Nieto. Over here is the granddad. I think I'm Rolly Martin, if I remember correctly. So we're going to be focusing on Miami sports. Tua Tagovailoa is back, Tyler, versus Arizona. So we're really looking forward to that. We're going to be talking about the Heat, Inter Miami starting playoff, World Series, Yankees and Dodgers. But we start every episode associating a great Miami athlete with the episode as far as the number is concerned. And number 8, Andre Dawson. Andre Dawson played high school ball at Southwest High School. He was a great high school player, but he kept on going. And in the majors, he played many years, mostly with the Cubs and Montreal, a Hall of Famer, by the way. His last 2 years with the Marlins, great numbers, 438 home runs, 1,591 RBIs. That is Andre Dawson. And you have another number 8, Tyler?
Before we go to my number 8, just a little fun fact. Andre Dawson, no, now that his playing days are over, actually runs pretty large funeral home in Miami, Florida. So,
Yeah, but what,
no,
what does that mean? I'm not planning on dying anytime soon, man.
well, it'll be a
It's
sad
gonna take
day,
a
but
little while.
if you run into
Okay.
the Hawk, it might make the day a little bit better, you know?
Oh
So,
well, I don't know about that, but so he's got a funeral home. That is
yes.
good. Yeah, I have heard about that. Yes.
Yeah, very random. So this number 8, much younger, much more recent, is still actively playing professional sports, but is a legend for his performance on the collegiate ranks at the University of Miami. It's Braxton Berrios, wide receiver, slot receiver. Kind of got off to a slow start with his Hurricanes career, a lot of drop passes, but his senior year, just everything clicked for him. Like single-handedly beat Florida State. Miami was playing with a backup quarterback that game. He had double-digit catches, led them just up and down the field. There was the game plan was throw the ball to Braxton Berrios, and that was a time where Miami wasn't beating Florida State a lot. You know, the post Jameis Winston years, and you know that was their first win I think in 4 years against Florida State. So that was a big step forward for the program. So they'll always remember Braxton Berrios in Miami. Maybe not for his time as a Dolphin, but definitely for his time as a Hurricane.
So we got Tua coming back, and we need him. One of the worst scoring offenses in the league. We need to score points. The most points we have scoring against 20 points. So we need the production. Tua comes back from the concussion. He's been practicing this week. Tyreek Hill is extremely happy that he's got him back. Of course, he had 130 yards in that first game when Tua threw over 300 yards versus Jacksonville, but the numbers went down in the second game. And after that, of course, we didn't have Tua. We need to have production from the top two receivers, Tyler. Waddle and Hill have to be involved. And McDaniel's got to find ways of getting them involved. They have taken away those two receivers, and not only recently. It goes back to last year. It was not the same production in the last 3 or 4 games of the season, including the playoff game for the Miami offense. So we need that, and I believe also we need more support from a third receiver or tight end. And of course, I think the running game, it is extremely important now also with the situation that Tua has as far as health-wise. How do you see it, Tyler?
Agree that, you know, Tua coming back is obviously the first step in, you know, returning to this success in the past. Obviously, best offense in the NFL last year, but there are some glaring things that, you know, whether with Tua on the field or not. For example, you know, with Hill and Waddle getting only 4 targets last game. And, you know, glaringly, that's obviously seems to be a coaching issue or a scheme issue. But if you really think about it, if you only have 2 receivers that are making an impact as a defense, also, you know, little run game going, it's pretty easy to game plan for that. You know, you take away these 2 guys, you take away the short passes, put 2 safeties over the top, and they're taken care of. It doesn't matter who they are. So until someone else steps up, it's not going to open up for these guys. Just simply put, whether it's a tight end, whether it's a running back, you know, they ran the ball well last game, so that's a little bit different. But you know, other facets of the team are going to have to rise in order for these guys to get their shine, I think. So it's not as simple as that, but I do think obviously it's a step in the right direction and definitely wasn't going to happen with any of the other quarterbacks. So that's for sure.
Well, I'm expecting about 3 touchdowns from Tua, at least 270 yards through the air. And looking at this game, making a short preview of the game, Arizona has got problems, in particular defensively. You know, their defense is number 26 in the league, and they have problems in particular through the air. So that's something that should help Miami, and also that running game. I think that the running game is going to be very important in this game for Miami, and it has to be from now on, because you know that running game. If you have it, that means protection also for the quarterback. It helps with the protection. You don't have to have that tremendous production from the passing game, and you have a great defense. You got a top 5 defense in the league. So I think that is going to be helpful for Miami if they can have a more production offensively than they have had. It doesn't have to be exactly what they had last year. It doesn't have to be at that level. But if they have more production from that offense, they can protect the ball, work the clock a little bit. With that defense that they have, they should be able to be competitive. And it's not only Arizona. They have another game coming up after that, which is going to be very important, a key game. They got Buffalo after that away. So that is also a very important game for the Miami Dolphins. Tyler, we would like to remember a local legend now, and a local legend that a lot of people remember from the time that Pat Riley really got going with the first team that was really competitive, that was really good for the Miami Heat. We're talking about Mr. Tim Hardaway. Tim Hardaway had a tremendous career in the NBA, and he had six seasons of a lot of success with the Miami Heat. This is a guy that played also with Golden State. He played with other teams in the league, and he was very, very productive for the Miami Heat. He did not win a title, but he was very successful in the playoffs. The 6 years that he was with the Miami Heat, they went to the playoffs. Inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2022. I was mentioning Golden State, but he also played for Dallas, Denver, Indiana, and of course Miami. And he played in the 96-97 season in a total of 81 games. And the team won 61 games that season. He averaged 20 points. And throughout his career, he ended up with 18 points average and 8 assists. Without a doubt, one of the great Miami players, together with Alonzo Mourning in those teams, Mr. Tim Hardaway. But we're going to get into Hurricanes talk, Tyler, and they have a game coming up now this week versus FSU, the eternal rivalry. But maybe this year is not a rivalry, as much a rivalry as we usually have with this game. FSU is down 1 victory and 6 losses in the season. Miami is 7-0, ranked in the top 6, in this case, number 6 in the country. How do you see the game developing? Do you think that we're going to have another close game? Because we have had close games with the Canes against inferior opponents recently.
I mean, first of all, I just want to say, and I hate to say this, I don't think this team's going to see much success in the postseason if we're just being completely honest. That defense is not good, and SEC offenses are just going to walk all over them, especially, you get to the SEC, you see these teams with huge offensive lines, athletic offensive lines, great run games. That just sounds like a recipe for disaster if they're playing against Miami. And that sounds like 50 or 60 points, in my opinion. That offense is great, but at the end of the day, if they're giving up, last game was 40 points to an unranked opponent. Once you start playing top 10 teams, top 5 teams, I do think it's unfortunate because this is the best offense that this program has had in years, possibly a decade. But on the defensive side of the ball, they're just not keeping up their end of the bargain, and you can only get bailed out so many times. They haven't, every single team they've beat is currently unranked, and they've had trouble with about half of those teams. So, I don't see Duke going down as a loss. It definitely could go down to the wire, but long term, I mean, unless something gets fixed, they get Warren Sapp back on that defensive line. I don't see them stopping these SEC run games. Texas, Georgia, Alabama, no shot.
Kyle Ward signed a contract with Adidas, and he's playing at a very, very high level at this time. We're talking 2,538 yards through the air, 69% completion percentage, 24 touchdowns, only 5 INTs. And some people are saying, well, the quarterback Sanders from Colorado might go earlier than him, than Ward in the draft. I look at the numbers. His team is 5-2. He's got 2,268 yards, 72% percentage completion percentage, 19 touchdowns, 6 INTs, and minus 19 running the ball. Because a lot of people believe that Sanders is a great runner. Maybe he's a great athlete, but those numbers are not really there. You compare with Ward, he's got 144 yards in 28 carries, 2 TDs running the ball. Right now, I believe that Ward is the number 1 guy. I might be wrong. And some people naturally are not looking at it that way. But I don't know. I believe that Ward, I would be surprised if he's not the number 1 quarterback. Not necessarily the number 1 player picked, but he would not be the number 1 quarterback.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think the only person giving Ward a run for his money is not Shedeur Sanders. It's the quarterback from Oregon, Dylan Gabriel. And in terms of the NFL draft,
He's
Gabriel's
a
like
lot smaller, right? He's
he's a
David.
5'9", 5'10" quarterback. So, in terms of draft order, I think Ward has that spot. Now, if we're talking Heisman race, then it might be a little bit closer, but I think he's head and shoulders above Shedeur Sanders from a playing standpoint, also from a leadership standpoint. We see him almost after every single game, Shador gets in the press conference, is blaming his offensive line, is blaming the play calling, is making any type of excuse. Whereas you hear his teammates talk about Cam Ward. That's the guy you go to late in the game when you need that extra confidence, when you need that trust. He's the person instilling it in everybody, talking to his offensive line, building them up. And as a quarterback, that's almost half of it right there. Having these guys believe in you, when you're in these close games, you need them thinking they're going to win these close games. And Colorado's not winning these close games. Miami is. So that answers the question for me pretty easily.
Exactly. My favorite uh, topic in our podcast, my favorite segment, that is the correct way of saying it, fantasy football. Tyler, what do you have for us this week?
Well, you gave a little Tua prediction earlier, 270 yards, three
270
touchdowns.
and three touchdowns. Yes.
Maybe you want
I
to do
mean,
this yourself
positive,
this time.
positive, positive.
No, well, I'll keep it local this time. Both Dolphins players and start. He said it himself this week in the press conference. Tyreek Hill, if you were silly enough to take him out of your lineup, throw him right back in there. Um, at the end of the day, whether regardless of how many targets he's getting, that's somebody that could score in one play. That's somebody who probably will score in one, long, deep play. Obviously, you can only score in one play, but just that snap of the finger, explosiveness. There's only so many players that have that talent, and Hill's one of them. Always a safe start, in my opinion. And sit, hate to say it because I went into the season with him being my starting quarterback, but I would still keep Tua on the bench for another week or two, still figure out what's going on with the team overall because, it's not just Hill, it's also Waddle that needs to get involved. Hopefully Odell Beckham gets involved at some point. Kind of like a ghost running around there right now. But if these receivers can get involved, I think Tua's back to being a safe start, just like he was last season.
Getting into the Miami Heat subject matter, disappointing first game. They lose 116-97 versus the Magic. Butler and Adebayo combined for 12 points. Banchero had 33 for the Magic, for example. Then you add 14 points by Hero. And those are the three guys that Pat Riley is talking about. Hero, Adebayo, and Butler, that they have to step up. They definitely did not step up. Still, offensively, that's what you worry most about, the Heat. And when you look at those three players, I think that the key guy, the guy that has got the potential being the guy that could be maybe, I don't know, maybe a superstar, I definitely have my doubts, is Adebayo. He's got all the talent in the world, but he averaged 19 points and about 10 rebounds last season. And he's been in the league already quite a while. I don't see him wanting the ball at the end of the games, when the games are going to be decided. I think that he's got to develop more confidence in himself, in his tools. He's got the potential, but I have my doubts whether he can really make a large step up. But I believe he's the one that's got the most potential to do it. But right now, and in the last few years, I haven't really seen it. Even though, for example, there was a difference as far as 3-point shooting, which was a lot better, and it was really part of his game last season. Hopefully, he can improve on that. But I believe that he's got to be more assertive. He's got to be getting more involved. He has to want the ball at the end of games because he's capable of being productive and actually being the best player on this team.
I agree with all those things. With the structure of this team, with the expectations of this team, they want Bam to be that guy, but I don't think he should have to. I think that's fault of Pat Riley. That's fault of Andy Elisburg, honestly, and the way this team is constructed. That shouldn't be someone you're relying on late in games, and I think he's proven it. He wants to be a hard-nosed player. He wants to out hustle everybody. He's kind of those Miami Heat core values, minus the quote unquote clutch factor. He doesn't want to be that guy, but he does so much more for your team besides that. That I think they should have got somebody in the. And pointless talking about it now, but it's unfortunate that he has to play that role because I think he could play another role much better. And another person that people you mentioned is Hero. In press conference this week, he mentioned that he's 24 years old, but in this league, he's already a veteran. We viewed him as a young guy. Remember, youngest person to start in a finals game, but now he's at the point where he can be a mentor to other players, and his game, whether it's a leap or just instilling more confidence in himself. In my opinion, I think Hero wants to be Steph Curry when he really could be Ray Allen, in my opinion. And he plays a lot of hero ball in terms of trying to save the day. A lot of the times where I think if he focused on just being a sharpshooter, locked in on his defense, he could really contribute to this game without shooting them into bad situations like he does a lot of the time as well.
Physically stronger this year, Hero. I think that defensively he's playing better, especially what we saw in the preseason. He's got also a great opportunity of stepping up for this team, and they need him to step up. We have the World Series coming up, starting this weekend in LA, and these are two of the great teams in MLB. They were really the two best teams in MLB. Great offenses, both, which you have an MVP and also a World Series winner here, definitely. Ohtani, is going to be the MVP in the National League, and also he would be also winning, in this case, he will be the MVP, and he could be the winner of the World Series. And then, of course, you have also Mr. Judge. As far as the Yankees is concerned, this is a guy that has had a tremendous season this year, and he should win the MVP of the American League. The pitching, I think there is a little advantage for the Yankees as far as starting pitching is concerned, and then the Dodgers might be stronger with the bullpen. But they might even go to a fourth game with the bullpen because they basically been using three starters in Buehler, Yamamoto, and Flaherty. So they might go with that, and then of course you got Gary Cole starting for the Yankees on Friday, and they have Rodon and also Luis Hill, and also a fourth starter. The offenses are very similar, very close as far as what they can put on the table. I give a slight advantage to the Dodgers. I think this is a 6 or 7 game series, and baseball needs it because baseball has lost some of its magic. So having the Dodgers and the Yankees in the World Series, I think is going to definitely help baseball. We have Inter Miami, Tyler, coming up now with Lionel Messi, Luis Suarez, and company. By the way, they're both candidates for the MVP and the MLS, both of them. And they starting with Atlanta, a 3-game series. The winner of 2 advances in the MLS playoffs. They're starting Friday at home. They should be take care of Atlanta. They're basically, obviously, a superior team. They got more talent than anybody else in the MLS. Even though they lost to Atlanta 3-1. 1 game this year, and then they play away in Atlanta. They had a tie, but most of their star players did not play in that draw. So hopefully Messi and company, and Messi's got now a fragrance. He's got shoes. He's selling a lot of stuff more than Donald Trump. He's selling more stuff than Donald Trump, and that has to be a lot. So you can see, and I think he'll be more successful also selling all those things, Mr. Messi. So basically, that's what we have for this week, Tyler. I hope you enjoy our podcast. And where can they check us out, Tyler?
The Instagram page is officially up now. No more empty promises. We'll have all our clips on Instagram, full episodes as well, updated to Instagram, YouTube, Facebook Live. Not Facebook Live, just Facebook in general. Maybe we'll incorporate the live part another day. But Facebook is, generally right now where we're getting the majority of our viewers. So we appreciate everyone that's been supporting us on there. And now you can check us out on Instagram, like we said. Some different clips, some different segments that we'll be posting on Facebook. Some more, shorter social media friendly clips.
So that is it. Number 8, Abuelo and the Nieto. We'll see you guys. Hasta la próxima.